So this is our first beer, which is called Curiosity with Garage Project, and it's showcasing Tongan vanilla beans.
Garage Project are a great brewery. We've worked with them once before on the Rainbow Project, and love their approach to being really curious about their ingredients and trying to find new ways of using ingredients and processes together. So they were a really great choice for us in this project. So one of the areas that Josh from Garage Project really wanted us to work on was bringing in some Tongan vanilla, and his words were, it's super grunty, which is really different from the vanilla effect that you get from Madagascar, which is what we've traditionally used. And we definitely felt that when we got it. We've used a lot more of it than we ever use in a beer.
Yeah, so these are the beans that we got in. They, like I said, Tongan vanilla beans instead of Madagascar, and they, from just me looking at them, they're just a lot plumper, bigger, thicker. There's probably more flavour in them. There's definitely, Josh also talked about flavour of the whole bean, not just trying to get the insides. So
right.
Normally we slice every bean individually, and we took their advice, and I think it's worked really well, just throwing it in a food processor, blending it up, getting it really fine, because the flavour's all over the bean.
Yeah.
And you can smell these, if you move them around in the air, you can smell them. The whole room smells of vanilla.
Cuts down on processing time if you've got 2 kilos of pods to individually slice as well.
It definitely helped from that point of view.
So I think one of the things we were very nervous about with using that amount of vanilla was vanilla very easily tips over, doesn't it, into that feeling and aroma of using essences, which is not something we like to do at Siren. And talking it through with Josh and again his love for this particular type of bean really gave us the confidence to use that amount and the way that he used it to really give us a full breadth of flavour, much fuller, fatter flavour, if I can use that word.
Yeah, I think it definitely gives like the depth of the vanilla by having the whole bean in there, not just the seeds.
Yeah, as you said, I think it adds almost like a fruit aspect to it as well.
These beans are known to have a slight cherry, apricot kind of fruit character to them, which
great.
That's what I wanted to do. And then we also spoke to them about putting a little bit of coconut just to add another kind of sweet element in there. And one of the things that Josh and Pete both said they've seen, and we've never done ourselves, is toasting the coconut ourselves.
Yeah.
So I toasted 30 kilos of desiccated coconut, and that's actually not a lot of coconut for a beer, but it added just a nice little edge to help round out and balance out the things. And the toasting, it really brought out the flavour. So there's a good roastiness and big stout character to it, but then the vanilla comes through and the aroma really nicely, I think. But the biggest thing with the vanilla is coming through in the flavour. So there's a really, I think, deep vanilla flavour, almost creaminess to it. And then there's a bit of coconut in the background helping balance out some of the other characters in the beer.
I think, when you think about this being the beer with the least amount of residual sugar and you give it a good swirl, it's still a pretty viscous beer, isn't it?
Yeah, it is up there with the bigger stouts that we do. Completely just this project we did push things a little bit. And I think it's got all the character that we want in a big imperial stout with the vanilla kind of. I think it sits on the top nicely. So in the series, this is our highest ABV at 10%, and it's quite interesting that it was the shortest boil of the beers. So it was a 4-hour boil, just over 4 hours, and it was the lowest starting gravity and the driest finishing beer. But because of the alcohol that we produce here, that balances out the roastiness and the bitterness that is in the beer, as well as the vanilla and the coconut kind of playing sweet balances there as well.
It's big on the aroma, rich caramel. I think it's super light on. I mean, obviously the vanilla is really screaming out of the glass. Not a massive amount of coconut, but I think that's,
the coconut's just a subtlety in the background, balancing the roast with some of the coconut sweetness. But it's a real interesting vanilla. It almost reminds me of like the cream soda drinks or something like that on the nose. But then I feel the flavour is a lot deeper.
It is, isn't it? It's depth. That's definitely the word for it. It's just rich, got some depth. It's kind of very full, bit of fruit. It's got a bit of kind of roasty notes, considering it's the least of we've used the least amount of roasted malts in the beer. It
was, and I think that the beer was built to have that character to balance it with a little bit of the candy syrup that we got in, the coconut, vanilla, and I think they all play together quite nicely. The alcohol also kind of helps to balance that, and the roastiness. There's an imperial stout. The roast is, I think, a positive thing there for sure.
Really chuffed how that turned out.
Great mouthfeel as well.
Huge. Enjoy.